We all set? All right. That is that. Thanks, everybody, for coming out. Welcome. Thank you for staying so late in the day. It's, I think we're one of the last sessions of the day, so I really super appreciate it. How's the first day gone so far for Ignite for you all? Oh, that's amazing enthusiasm. Love it. No, it's really good to see everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. On the slide, you see who we are. So we have a whole amazing team for you today to talk to you about unifying your data journey to Microsoft Fabric, migrating to Fabric. I'm Mark. Joining me soon will be Priyanka and Jenny, and I'll let them introduce themselves as they come up. You'll see that we listed ourselves all as data integration, not data migration, as migration experts within our different areas. That is what we, within the product teams, focus on. We have other focuses as well, but for today, we are migration experts, and we are here to be your migration experts to help you learn to migrate to Fabric. So I do want to pop a slide up here to give you some QR codes. By the way, we are super QR code heavy in this slide presentation, so get your cameras ready to take some pictures. These are our LinkedIns, and we really want to connect with you all so that we have the time. We only have 45 minutes, by the way, for the session, so this way we have the time afterwards to connect with you all and hear more about your journey to Fabric, what you need, what you'd like to ask us. Another great way to get in touch with us is at the Ask the Experts, and I think it's called the Hub, is the area across the streets where you can come and ask us any questions at all. We have some other folks here too, like we have Ramesh and we have John from the CAT team. Lots of folks that will be available to answer your questions about migrations. So, enough about us. Let's talk about the agenda. So I do want to start with a quick overview of Microsoft Fabric. Then we're going to have a customer come join us on stage. We're going to have Pushpendra from Statsig come up and talk to you about their journey and their migration to Fabric and the benefits they have of being on Microsoft Fabric now. And then we're going to have each of the different areas talk to you about why migrations, what to migrate, how to migrate, and customer stories. Now, the reason why there's three of us here is because we each represent those different areas that you saw earlier. I am the Data Factory product manager. We have Data Warehouse, and we also have data engineering represented here as well. Okay, so before we get into the material, I know it's late in the day. I want to get you interactive with us all here today. First, show of hands. Who's already using Microsoft Fabric today? All right, super. That's a good number. Thank you so much for doing that. Appreciate you being our awesome customers. Now, who here is using, I'm going to start with the first one. Who here is already using Azure Synapse? All right, beautiful. Hopefully you're going to learn a lot today. And secondly, who's using, this is near and dear to my heart, Azure Data Factory? Look at that. See that? Love it. Beautiful. Thank you so much for using the tools. I really appreciate that. We're really going to focus a lot on getting you familiar with migrations, comfortable with migrations, and a little bit about Fabric. So, which reminds me, I actually want to start with, oh, sorry, I have one more question for you. Oh, no. OK, show of hands. Who's already started your migration? Good. OK, I'm glad you have. But I understand that most of you have not raised your hands because you're here to, for us to help you understand how and why. OK, now I can start with this. So, especially for those of you who didn't raise your hand when asked about using Microsoft Fabric, I want to level set, make sure we're all talking about the same thing, okay? So Microsoft Fabric is the Microsoft modern data analytics platform in the cloud. It has all of the things, plus some, that you see on the slide here, represented from Data Factory to analytics, databases, real-time intelligence, so on and so forth. You can read the slide. We have these teams each represented also at the Ask the Experts. So if you want to learn more about, say, event streams or event house, you can come and ask about that. If you want to learn about the announcements that were made today about Fabric IQ, come to see the RTI, real-time intelligence team about that as well at the booths. Now, what's really important about this is that it's not just these products and these data analytics capabilities within Azure that we brought into a single platform. What's really important is that we gave you a super simple way to get started and to use data analytics within Microsoft. We did this by using the super popular SaaS, software as a service platform of Power BI. Right? So now if you're a Power BI user, what we call sort of a citizen data user, now you can take advantage of things like databases and data warehouse and Spark and pipelines and all those things. It's all in the same workspace now. And really super important, at the bottom of this slide, what we've represented for you is that all of these capabilities ride upon OneLake. OneLake is that data lake within Microsoft now for our data analytics that comes with Fabric, where you put all of your data, essentially your OneDrive for all your data in the cloud. And if you notice too, we call out very importantly Copilot and AI, security and governance. These are things that come with Fabric that you don't get as part of the package within Azure, right? So you get the old Copilot capability. If you want to do any of these things, like say they create a, I know it's near and dear to my heart, so I'll say create a pipeline, but if you want to create a database or you want to query data using Spark, you can use natural language within Fabric to be able to do that. So it's super easy to gen the things you need to do and to understand your data and even create data agents and work with your data. So the intent is to bring this all together into a single cohesive, single data analytics platform that is Fabric. So essentially repeating what I said, but I think what's really important to take away from this is whether that's creating data agents or whether that's using the Gen AI of Copilot for data flows, for example. It's all there within Fabric, and you can get started super quickly and super easily, especially if you're already using Power BI. So that's our value prop for Microsoft Fabric. And what we're going to talk to you today about is if you are using Synapse, if you're using other tools for your data warehouse or for pipelines or ETL, we're going to talk to you about migrating those into Fabric. Now, what I want to do next to kind of highlight some of these amazing values of Fabric is I want to bring up onto stage Pushpendra from our customer called Statsig. And he's going to talk to you about their journey and their benefits of migrating their platform onto Microsoft Fabric. So let's have a warm welcome for Pushpendra. Come on up.
Hello, everyone.
There you are, sir.
Hello, everyone. I'm Pushpendra. I lead the data platform arc at Statsig. We've been early partners with Fabric. It's been 2 years now. We have been partnering with Fabric. At Statsig, we believe in using data. We let users dive deep into their data, learn from every feature release, and how you can use data to ship faster and smarter. So why did we build Statsig in the first place? It was very clear that product teams were no longer relying on intuitions. They wanted to be data-driven, but they didn't have any tools to do so. They need tools to build, ship, measure, monitor. And with new AI era, the constant iteration-based product development is more than important. So Statsig basically lets you use data to build faster and smarter. Over the course of 4 years, we have built complete suite of products for data-driven development. We have analytics, we have feature flagging, experimentation, session replays, and recently we launched AI evals, which is basically our AI suite of products to do experiments on LLMs. You could do offline, online evals. It's super cool. Now that teams have unified product and tools, they don't need to worry about tools. They could just focus on their job, which is basically building products. We have been working with many customers over the last 4 years. So the notable ones are like Brex, Notion, Linktree. One of the cool stories from Notion that their scientists using Statsig were able to do 30x more experimentations. It's all because of the faster setup with Statsig and the way we let them do trusted validation on the experimentation. All this new experimentation resulted in 6% increased activations. So bottom line, basically, we are not only driving the business metrics for our customers, but also the internal ship velocity using Statsig. So Statsig have become now one-stop platform for all product development. We offer 2 flavors of the product, cloud and warehouse native, and we are the only product currently in the market doing so. So in the next few slides, I'm going to explain both the products and how we integrate that with the Fabric. So let's talk first about cloud. The cloud offering is very simple. You use our SDKs to log events. They get streamed through our pipelines. They stream to our data stack, and basically, you don't have to do anything. You can use those raw events to drive insight, whether it's experimentation, whether it's real-time analytics, whether it's session replays, you name it. So as you can imagine, when I joined Statsig, our raw event volume was like 100 billion. And over the 2 years, we have scaled it to 3+ trillion events now. And this number keeps growing. We process more than hundreds and 200s of petabytes of data across all our data stack. We have 2,000+ customers now who trust us to do advanced analytics, experimentation, and feature flagging. And basically, all of this is powered by our data platform. As you can imagine, with this growing scale, a data platform has to be robust and reliable. But most important is cost performance. So we are obsessed at Statsig with cost performance. What it means is that we want performance, but we always measure at what cost. And that led us teams to basically have various strategies and how can we be cost performant, right? One of the simple ways is using spot nodes. But as if you guys have worked with cloud providers, you might know that those are very scarce to get when you really need them. So as we were scaling, there were a lot of pockets in which we were hitting the limits of cloud provider. And that's where we started looking at, should we go multi-cloud, right? So instead of being just one cloud where customers send events, why not we go warehouse adjacent? Like, why not we go where customers are, right? And that's where we started looking at various other alternatives, and that's how our Fabric journey started. The Fabric's unified OneLake matches with our data strategy completely, because we were doing some compute in Spark, some compute in SQL warehouses, and OneLake really drew our attention. Yeah, the second part of the product is warehouse native. What if you don't want to send your data to us, right? And that's where Statsig warehouse native product offering shines. We let you do all the powerful features which Statsig offer, like advanced analytics or experimentation with data in your warehouse itself. So you don't need to move any of your data. We just sit right on your warehouse and let you do all of the core features which Statsig offers. So we already support a lot of important platforms or major platform out there. And it was very clear that Fabric is going to be one of that platform. So we started our early evaluation, and we wanted to support Fabric onto that platform. So as of now, Statsig is a native workload on Fabric. What it means is that you could do and use all of the Statsig advanced feature without moving out of Fabric UI. So within Fabric UI itself, you can use Statsig, do all of advanced analytics, experimentation, all we have to offer. That's it from my side.
That's awesome. One step before you step down, Pushpendra, thank you so much for that amazing overview of what you've done with Statsig. I mean, the scale that you saw for the data platform, required a scalable data analytics platform like we've done within Fabric. I'm kind of wondering, can you sort of share with the audience in terms of what would be 1 or 2 key benefits that you've seen in moving your data platform onto Fabric?
Yeah, definitely. So there are numerous, but I would name few. The first is OneLake. I would like to share a simple, cool story during our migration process. So we're trying to migrate like terabytes of data for our evaluation from one of our cloud providers to Fabric. And we used data pipeline. It was very simple. You drag and drop, connect to SQL warehouses, and data was moving. But it used to take like 10, 20 hours with our size, right? And John here suggested very innovative things with OneLake. What we ended up doing was we used data pipeline to move raw Parquet file from our external cloud provider to Fabric. And once data was in OneLake, you could just have external tables sitting in Spark and do whatever you want with it, or use the copy command to load fast into SQL warehouse. That just brought down the time from 10 hours to less than an hour, and it was very cost efficient. Other things like notebooks, they are very underrated. Fabric notebooks are really intuitive. A single notebook interface, SQL warehouse, Spark, you can do anything. And we really see product improvements using that. Other things like the recent launch of clustering on warehouse, or even the AI-enabled UI editors. They look like shiny, but they're really useful, because that's the real power of AI, being embedded inside the product. I'm doing SQL for 20 years, and I can still see the benefit of them, because if there is a SQL error, you can easily quickly find out. You can just save those 10 minutes, and they were like super powerful.
Awesome. I think for time's sake, we're going to leave it there. Let's give Pushpendra a great round of applause. Thank you so much for sharing that story with us. Great job. OK, let's start diving into the different ways that you can migrate things like your Synapse DW into Fabric. And Priyanka is going to come up and join us now. And Priyanka, all on to you.
Thank
Quick
you.
intro would be nice. Yes.
Yes. Hi everyone, my name is Priyanka Langade. I'm a product manager in Fabric Data Warehouse team. I drive migrations. That's why I'm here to speak with you guys. So you just heard from Pushpendra that how they have been successful in migrating to Fabric Data Warehouse. Now let's see why you should consider migrating to Fabric Data Warehouse. So architecturally, Fabric Data Warehouse offers separation of storage and compute. So your data is stored and maintained in one lake as a single source of truth in Delta packet file format. So it means it's just like a lakehouse. The serverless compute can be instantaneously provisioned, can be scaled to meet your query demands, and still offer petabyte scale of performance. So from that perspective, the SQL engine is a cherry on top because it inherits all the goodness that SQL Server has done for over the decades of innovation. That all is inherited. It also offers strong data warehouse semantics such as concurrency and transactionality. And it is enterprise ready because it has all enterprise security and governance features. To name few, RLS, DDM, CLS, or OAP. Just a couple of them I'm calling it out here, but it is enterprise ready. And one of the biggest differentiator here is it's all integrated into the AI. So you get Copilot, you get agentic AI. So you can just ask Copilot, hey, I want to write this query and can you fix my query? It can do it. Whereas you can ask agentic AI, hey, can you perform data insights on some data? Like ask questions and literally chat with data to get more insights quickly. So in short, Fabric Data Warehouse is future-proof, ultra-modern data warehouse architecture. From the resiliency and recovery perspective, it offers not only resiliency and recovery from node failures, but also from data center or availability zone perspective. So anytime your node goes down, it gets automatically or seamlessly replaced, so your query execution can continue. If zone goes down, then we safely move your failover to healthy zone so that you do not lose access on your data and you can continue on your workload. So without any additional cost, we protect you from wide variety of faults at infrastructure level or application level. Everything is covered here in Fabric. Now, when we did the price performance analysis against Azure Synapse Data Warehouse Gen 2 instance, that was with DW1000 with 1000U and also Fabric F64 capacity. We ran TPCH data 1 terabyte, and what we noticed, without any optimization, no result set caching, no clustering, no custom SQL pool, still we had 1.97x times faster runtime and 1.7x times cheaper. It means you get better price, better performance with Fabric Data Warehouse, and that's why you should consider migrating. So what do we have here? So from migration perspective, you start from your source system, which is on the left-hand side in this path, means you have Azure Synapse dedicated SQL pool or you have SQL Server database. You start from there. The integrated experience is built in Fabric, so you don't need to go anywhere else. It is within Fabric. It has intelligent assessment. It performs all code conversion. It has rich data migration experience as well, and it's again AI powered. So when you land into data warehouse and one lake, finally you have all the goodness and great capabilities that we just talked about. Amir, Arun talked in earlier sessions about, like, you get better performance, better productivity, increased faster innovation, and faster decision making as well. Here is another look of the same migration flow, which is you extract DACPack file from your source system, you upload that into the migration assistant. Migration assistant performs its all magic about code conversion, translation, and then apply it to the Fabric Data Warehouse. As a next step, then you do the data migration. For the data migration, you land your data into ADLS Gen 2, either in CSV or packet file format, and from that you can ingest into the Fabric Data Warehouse, either using copy into SQL or Fabric pipeline, Synapse pipeline, ADF. The choice of tool is yours, whichever tool you want to use for data ingestion. So let's look this into action.
To start the migration, I click on Migrate button in the workspace that I want to migrate to and select Analytical T-SQL Warehouse or Database card, which opens this migration wizard to set up source and destination of my migration. For my source, I am going to upload a DACPack file extracted from my Azure Synapse Analytics dedicated SQL pool that I want to migrate from. Next, for the destination, I am providing the name of the warehouse. After reviewing my inputs, I click on Migrate. This kicks off migration of all the schemas, including tables, views, stored procedures, and functions objects. It creates warehouse with collation case insensitive property. It will show the progress of migration right from translation to applying translated objects into the destination warehouse. Once it is completed, warehouse is open with a view of migration summary. On the summary, I can see successfully migrated objects and objects needing fix. The Object Explorer also shows these migrated objects. I can review all objects that are successfully migrated. The second step is to review objects that couldn't migrate automatically. Here, I am looking at the object scripts that are ordered by priority. I am going to click to review errors in the script. Here I am seeing the create user is not being supported. Copilot is already suggesting me what action I can take to add user. When I click on Add User Action, the Grant Access dialog is opened up. I can copy-paste username here and grant read data permissions here. Upon completing the steps, Fix Error step is completed. Next, I can invoke a copy job to copy my data from Azure Synapse Analytics dedicated SQL pool over 𝗦𝗽𝗲𝗸𝗀 data warehouse. It opens Copy Job Experience to ingest data. Here I am going to choose Source Azure Synapse Analytics, SQL DW, provide connection details. The next step is to select tables to copy data from. Then review table mapping and finally select Copy Job Mode. Just review one more time and click on Save and Run. This will start the copy job into background. Once data is ingested, I can check off Copy Job step and move on to the final step of Reroute Connections. So what I need to do now is move all the connections of my ETL and reporting tool that are connected to my dedicated SQL pool over to the Fabric data warehouse. And that's it. With the integrated assistant and guided experience, this migration experience is enabling customers to leverage Fabric capabilities without the complexities of traditional migration.
So many customers are engaging with this migration assistant and they are getting successful in migration. One of such customer is actually Kantar, who migrated from Azure Synapse Analytics to Fabric Data Warehouse, getting better performance and still reducing cost by 50%. Similar to Kantar, a Berkshire Hathaway company, Nebraska Furniture Mart, they also migrated from SQL Server to Fabric Data Warehouse and they had seamless experience in the migration. We are enhancing Migration Assistant with all good capabilities. So what we are bringing here in private preview is live connectivity to the source system. So to fetch metadata of your source objects, we are bringing here live connectivity. You can directly connect to your source system. Migration Assistant will take care of code conversion, translation and everything and will land into the Fabric Data Warehouse and rest of the flow remains as it is for data migration that you just saw. So if you are interested in joining this private preview, please scan that QR code, submit your nominations, and we will get back to you with the further steps that how you can onboard on this journey. As you can see that we are always continuously improving and we are really in rapid innovation and continuous improvement progress here. We launched Migration Assistant in FabCon March, Vegas with public preview. We made it GA in Vienna in September. At Ignite, we are launching private preview of the live connectivity, and in early next year, we will have object selection with SQL database project file also supported for Migration Assistant. Along with that, take a look at Fabric Warehouse roadmap, where you can see here what are the robust features that we have shipped in this entire year and what's coming up in the next semester. This roadmap is also available at AKMS Fabric Roadmap, so you will find more details there as well.
Priyanka, I want to pause you for 1 second. I think you should all take this URL down, by the way. This is great to get the roadmap of any of the areas within Fabric as well, not just DW. So I think it's, just give you a second just to capture it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and then you can move on. 3, 2, 1, time's up.
And finally, here are some additional resources for you for migration. We have Fabric deployment patterns. We have step-by-step guidance on how to migrate to Fabric. And we also have online complete thorough documentation on how you can engage and work with Migration Assistant. With that, over to you, Mark.
I'm going to leave this slide up while I transition. First, thank you, Priyanka. Big round of applause, please. Great job. All right, so that was DW migrations. Now we're going to focus over onto Spark and data engineering. For that, Jenny's going to come up and is going to walk you through. A big welcome, please, for Jenny. Hi, Jenny.
Yeah, thank you, Mark.
All yours. Go for it.
Hello, my name is Jenny. I'm the product manager in the Fabric Data Engineering team responsible for the migration. Yeah, it's a great pleasure to talk to you today. So now let's talk about migration for Fabric Data Engineering and why we strongly encourage everybody come to Fabric. I'd like to highlight these 3 things. The first one, as you can see here, is a cost efficiency. Compared to Synapse, Fabric Spark is much cheaper. It's 43% cheaper per vehicle hour. If you factor in the performance improvements, you can achieve up to 50% cost saving. If you turn on the native execution engine, the cost can drop to 1/3 of the Synapse cost. So the second pillar, Fabric is faster. As you are seeing other demos like Amir's demo, by default, you can achieve up to 1.4 times faster performance in Fabric. If you turn on the native execution engine, the workload will run 2.4 times faster. In addition, I'd like to call out a few capabilities why you should come to Fabric again. So first one, compared to Synapse, Fabric Spark is a SaaS-based offering that gives you a great 5x5 start experience. The built-in start pool is a very popular feature in Fabric. As a Python developer, for example, you can just go ahead and run your notebook without provisioning a cluster. And we also put a lot of enhancement into the Fabric Spark runtime. The cool features like the auto scale, native execution engine, high concurrency, a great improvements as compared to Synapse. And also, as the customer mentioned, we do have the AI-powered multiple languages supporting notebook, which provides the first cluster developer experience. The cross-workspace lakehouse, which stores your data in the unified platform with the open data format. Lastly, I think as Mark mentioned, we also have the data engine, data agent that will allow you to query data using natural language. And lastly, we also have the upcoming Copilot Assist capability that will support you for the autonomous Spark diagnostics and optimization. So in short, the Fabric Spark gives you a stronger capability, faster performance at a lower cost. So what to migrate? From the Fabric point of view, of course, you should consider your compute environment. That will include your Spark pools, your libraries, your Spark properties, all your settings here. In the code artifacts point of view, your notebooks, SGD will be moved over to Fabric, and also you should consider your Hive meta store, your lake database. As you can see from the diagram, we do have a strong feature parity between the Fabric and the Synapse. That will make your migration to be relatively easy and smooth. And dive into more details about the items level migration pathway. As you can see, we do have very direct mapping. Your Spark pools in Synapse will become either a start pool or custom pool in Fabric. All your Spark configuration libraries will be translated into environments. In the code resource-wise, your notebook SGD will continue working in Fabric. All your notebook pipeline activity, SGD activity, so for those 2 activities, you have to manually create them in Fabric, but it should be straightforward as well. On the data layer, there can be 3 options. You can still keep your data in the ODS Gen 2. That will continue work. You can also use the OneLake shortcut. You can also migrate your data into OneLake as the main storage to enjoy all those native capabilities of the OneLake. So your Hive meta store will become the lakehouse tables in Fabric. So that's a migration pathway, relatively straightforward. How to migrate? On the resource tuning side, we do provide the documentation for the feature comparison between Synapse and Fabric. So look in the document, you can get very detailed comparison feature by feature. If you want to rebuild your system in Fabric, you can also follow our manual migration guidance, which provides you step-by-step instructions. On the tuning-wise, we provided the discovery and assessment tool that will scan your Synapse workspace and create the report for your object summary. And based on that, our archive team can work with you on the migration proposal. And we also have the migration assistant, similar to the DW assistant, which is a Fabric UI-based automated migration tooling. If you want to have more control about your migration scope, which items to migrate, you can also use our semi-auto migration script. So in the upcoming months, we'll be announcing a public preview for the assistant. And also, our Kite team is building some open source oriented migration toolkit that will allow you to perform a cross-workload Synapse or app assessment. We are also providing a COI-based migration tool. So that's a tooling and resource. So this is our migration assistant. Similar to W, it's an integrated and streamlined migration experience from Synapse to Fabric, relatively straightforward. We'll have the Fabric later experience with built-in validation rules. You can also monitor the migration progress and view the migration report. And with that, I will give you a quick demo about the assistant.
In today's demo, I'll walk you through our new migration tool. Let's start on the home page of our Fabric workspace. To begin, click the Migrate button at the top. This opens a panel with 3 cards. Click on Data Engineering Items card to proceed. Now, the Data Engineering Migration Assistant appears. The process is straightforward, consisting of 4 main steps: an overview, selecting your Synapse source workspace, choosing your Fabric target workspace, and finally, reviewing the migration summary and starting the migration. Let's get started. First, give your migration a name. Next, select your Synapse subscription. For this demo, I'll choose my test subscription used for the migration demo. Then I choose a source workspace, which is already pre-populated based on the selected subscription. Click Next. Now let's choose the target Fabric workspace. By default, it selects the workspace you started from, but you can change it if needed. To migrate lake databases, a DMTS connection is required. For this demo, I will use an existing DMTS connection. Now click Next to proceed. We're now on the final screen. Review your selections, including the Synapse source workspace, Fabric destination, and the items to be migrated. For my example, here's what will be migrated. Click Migrate to start the process. A spinning circle appears on the Migrate button, indicating that the migration job is starting. Here comes the migration report. The report auto-refreshes as items are processed. Now we see more items getting migrated. Each lake database from Synapse is migrated as a schema within the lakehouse. Spark pools are migrated as new environments with Spark compute settings based on the original Synapse pool configuration. The notebooks are also migrated with their corresponding environments attached. Similarly, Spark job definitions are migrated along with their associated environments. When the migration status shows as completed with warnings, you can click the details link to view additional migration information. Once the migration is complete, you can click on a notebook to open and run it in Fabric. You can also click on the Fabric workspace to view all migrated items from Synapse. As you can see, all successfully migrated items are now visible in the workspace. Thanks for watching and happy migrating!
Yeah, okay, there are some additional considerations after the assistant copy all your items over. You may want to look into your Spark code to do some corrections, some update. Make sure they are fully functional in Fabric. And the security and the permissions, since it's a different system, you have to reset your permission and roles. If you have signals about the API SDKs, you probably want to switch the endpoint to do some testing, make some manual updates as well. So I'd like to conclude my presentation with a customer showcase. OBOS is a European company. They're able to successfully migrate 600 notebooks and pipelines, and also consolidating 4,500 objects into 87 Fabric lakehouses. Today, 450 users across different business units they are using the unified platform on a daily basis. So the benefits for the OBOS migration is very tangible. They're not only able to unify the platform getting the performance improvements, but also realize a substantial performance cost savings, as you can see from the chart here. Scan the QR code, join us for the private preview. These are some additional resources for the documentation, guidance, and tuning. Yeah, thank you very much. And with that.
Thank you, Jenny.
Yeah.
Big round of applause, please. Jenny, great job. Thank you, thank you. All right, leave this up for a second so you can capture those. These are the docs and the tooling. You had a QR code for the private preview, Jenny. Did you want to go back to that one, or do you think everybody got a chance to capture that one?
Yeah.
Let me go back to this, make sure that you can all, if you want to join the, this is the private preview, is that right?
Yes.
Okay, got it, for the migration assistant. You've got 3 seconds, and then this will self-explode. All right, and I'm down to 9 minutes, so I'm going to go pretty quickly over my section, which is Data Factory. So you've heard about data warehousing and data engineering. Let's talk about Data Factory. So we had a good show of hands before for ADF. I love that. That is, you know, I've been working on Data Factory since 2017, and I just love to see the amazing fan base that we have. And if you look at the usage we see with the Data Factory, you can see it's amazing. It's, you know, we think of ourselves as the top ETL data integration service in the cloud, in the world. Just massive amounts of data that we transform and move, massive amounts of usage. So you're definitely in good hands, putting your ETL data integration in the hands of Data Factory. Now, Data Factory in Fabric is also meant to be faster and better than it is in Azure Synapse and in ADF, just as you saw with how the data warehouse and the Spark notebooks are better than in Azure in Fabric. And we're doing the same thing. This is a good look at what data flows performance has been amazingly improved inside of Fabric. Now, the data flows in Fabric, you should know, if you're using data flows in ADF or Synapse, these are different. These are the paraquery-based data flows. So you see comparisons here as we add new capabilities to data flows in Fabric. We're adding new modern query evaluators. We're adding parallel execution capabilities to it. And the data flows that you'll build in Fabric are going to be using the Power Query interface to do that. But amazing work from our engineering team to just increase and improve the amazing performance of data flows. So as you start to do visual and no-code data transformations inside of Fabric, you can use data flows, and you'll see amazing performance out of those. Really easy, fast time to production. And they are all AI Copilot enabled. So you can just say, take this set of data, remove these columns. I mean, literally, you know, being literal here, you can just you can actually say that in natural language, and you could say, turn this column into a proper case or uppercase, and it'll build all the transformations for you, so you can use natural language. While I was talking, I did put this slide up. I put my slide here. This is what you need to know about the different things. I feel like one of the slides, though, did, give me one sec. Something might have slipped through the cracks. Let me make sure it's in here, because it seems to be in a different spot. That's okay if it is. Yeah, I think one of the slides is missing that we had updated earlier, but that's okay. I'll talk you through it. So I'll keep you here because these QR codes will take you right to the slide that I had, which was talking about the PowerShell utility and the Microsoft CAT tool. So let me explain what you're seeing on this slide. The left-hand QR code is the documentation link for everything you need to know about Data Factory and Synapse pipelines and data flows, and what the difference is between those and how you do things in Fabric Data Factory. Okay, so important doc to start with. It talks about migration strategies as well. The middle QR code is a PowerShell utility. This is a free utility to use. In fact, it's open sourced. And if let's say there are some connectors or activities that we haven't yet gotten to in terms of migration from Synapse or ADF, you can commit code to this, and we can look at that and we can evaluate that. It's an open source tool. You just have to import the PowerShell commands, and the QR code will take you to the instructions tutorial how to use it. This will take an entire ADF, entire factory, or entire set of Synapse pipelines, and it will convert them into Fabric for you. The last one is from our CAT team. Our CAT team is the customer advisory team. We have some folks in that team here today. They're amazing. They do amazing work, and they put out this tool, which is a UI-based tool that'll migrate either your ADF or your Synapse to Fabric and walk you through it visually as well. I love this tool. This is also freely available for you, and you can put comments in there. You can say that you'd like to see, you know, this feature in it or that feature, and we'll continue to grow that capability as well. Now, as you're migrating from your ADF or your Synapse, a couple of things to keep in mind. Yes, as I said, this is QR crazy. this is an interesting table that you should capture. I'm not going to be able to talk you through the entire thing, but I want you to be aware that there are changes in terminology that are really important for you to grok before you start migrating everything over into Fabric. And they're going to be things like integration and runtimes, a really popular concept in Synapse and in ADF. They're not there in Fabric. They're there as different things. Essentially, the cloud compute is how you run all of your native artifacts and items within Fabric. And then there are on-premise data gateways, your SHIR, your self-hosted integration runtime. And I have at the bottom of the slide, you see SSIS. SSIS is not there in Fabric yet. By the way, who here still uses SSIS? Look at that, love it. Keep going. So we are bringing SSIS into Fabric as well. That is near and dear to my heart. One other thing I want to call out in here, really super important, is the link services. So I think you saw in the demo earlier, I forget which one it was, if it was Jenny or it was Priyanka's, but there was things about pointing to your connections. I think it even mentioned DMTS connections explicitly in there. Those are the names of the connections inside of Fabric. They're not link services. So just keep in mind, you probably have to recreate your connections in Fabric and then move your pipelines over, okay? I just want to make sure that you're aware of that. Again, scan these docs. We'll give you all the data that you need is in there. Now, for my customer, I'm using Mercedes-Benz as my example because they called out a feature that's only available to you in Fabric Data Factory, and that's copy job. This you actually saw a demo of in the data warehouse demo earlier. It was kind of like sneaked in there. Essentially, when you move the data from Synapse DW into Fabric, it uses the copy job. Copy job has both CDC and incremental data copy enabled in it, and it's so super simple that we made it so you can essentially do the copy activity without a pipeline. So I really recommend you look at the copy job. I love for you to take your ADFs and your Synapse pipelines and move them into Fabric, but I also want you to rethink sometimes the way you've done things, right? Copy job may be a good replacement for the way you've done copy activity pipelines. Take a look at it. One last tool I'm going to give you here, another QR code. This is a tool by a partner of ours called Bitwise. They've made a fantastic tool, and they put it on the marketplace. I want to make sure you highlight it. I'll go to the second slide they have here. It's the same QR code. But they have this assessment right here, as well as they have a way to automatically convert not just your pipelines, but also your mapping data flows. So remember, we call them essentially called mapping data flows within ADF and Synapse. They run on Spark. They actually turn those into Spark jobs and then run them in Fabric. So I'd love for you to take a look at that tool as well. This slide isn't here. Good, perfect. This is the slide I was looking for. So super awesome announcement we have this week. This will light up in your Azure Data Factories later this week. So for those of you who raised your hand and said use ADF, the picture I put, excuse me, I'm losing my voice already. The picture I put in the left, this button will show up on your ADF by the end of the week. And it says Run Upgrade Assessment. There's a preview. It's a public preview. Click that button. There's no cost to do it, and it's not going to hurt anything. It will give you an awesome assessment report. We talked about assessment reports earlier for the other workloads too. Now we have it for ADF. This will tell you which things will move over as is inside of Fabric, which things you'll need to rethink, and which things are coming soon. I have minute 50. I can do this. My migration roadmap for Data Factory. A few months ago at FabCon, we released the PowerShell scripts and the documentation for that. The Bitwise tool came out. Kinerica is another partner who also has a migration tool. In fact, they did the method that Pushpendra was talking about, how they did things with Statsig. It's actually a native app within Fabric to migrate. You can look that one up. Kinerica is their name. Data Flows Gen 1 to Data Flows Gen 2, that's the Power Platform Data Flows. Those will migrate to Data Flows Gen 2 with a simple save as. I'm going to go super fast. So here at Ignite, we open source the PowerShell scripts. The migration assessment is coming out this week for ADF. In the future, SSIS and Fabric. Who uses data flows in ADF and Synapse? I thought it was going to be a bunch of hands. OK, 1 or 2 hands. All right. So those are mapping data flows. Those are coming into Fabric as well. I'm super excited about that. Last but not least, you saw that in the demos for the other tools that's available from the Fabric Migrate panel. We'll snap into that panel in Fabric as well. You have one place to go. One more QR code before you go. Capture it. This is an all-up resources guide for migrations into Fabric. We want you all to go back, be super jazzed and excited about migrating. We're here to support you. I've got 30 seconds. I can get this one in. One last thing, really super important. We talked about the amazing resources that Microsoft has, and Microsoft has a bunch of experts that can help you with your migration. We have a program that's called the Cloud Accelerate Factory. It's a different kind of factory. This is the Cloud Accelerate Factory. It's a program that will help to jumpstart Azure projects. Great to use for migrations. Zero cost. The way you get into this program is talk to your Microsoft reps, reach out to them. They will nominate you as a customer for this program, and then we can get you into working with our experts in terms of migrations and help you on that journey. I hit it right on the target. I am done. Thank you, everybody. I'm going to be available for a little bit afterwards. Also use our LinkedIns and come see us to Ask the Experts. Happy to answer any questions afterwards. Thank you so much. Have a great evening, everybody. Thanks for coming.